5 years had passed since Daniel last saw Emily. Time had turned the fiery ambition in his heart into a quiet ache, the kind that money could never soothe. He had become what he once dreamed of being, a millionaire, a man admired by the world, yet completely hollow inside. Every deal closed, every photo taken, every article written about his success reminded him of the one person who wasn't there to share it. On a cold autumn afternoon, Daniel found himself standing outside a small brick house on the edge of the city, holding a single white rose. It was the same kind of flower Emily had carried on their wedding day. His fingers trembled slightly as he knocked on the door, unsure if she would even answer. When Emily opened it, time seemed to slow. She looked different, her hair shorter, streaked with gray, but her eyes were the same. Those eyes had once been full of warmth and trust, now guarded and distant. She didn't say a word at first, just stared at him, perhaps trying to understand what had brought him back after so long. Daniel swallowed the lump in his throat and managed a faint smile. "Hi, Emily," he said softly. "You look well." Her reply was calm but sharp. "Why are you here, Daniel? Haven't you already built the life you wanted?" He wanted to tell her everything, that the life he had built without her wasn't a life at all, just a collection of empty moments. Instead, he said, "I just wanted to see you. There's something I needed to return." He reached into his coat and pulled out an envelope, aged and slightly torn at the edges. Inside were a bundle of letters, her letters. He had never opened them. "You sent these after I left," he said, his voice trembling. "I couldn't read them back then. I was too proud, too blind." Emily's expression softened slightly, but she didn't invite him in. The memories of their last days together were still fresh somewhere deep inside her, the shouting, the slammed doors, the tears. She had begged him to stay, but success had already claimed him. Back then, Daniel believed love could wait until he had everything he wanted. He didn't realize that love doesn't wait forever. "You didn't need to bring those back," she finally said. "They were written for someone who no longer existed." Daniel looked down at the ground, the words cutting deeper than he expected. He reached into his pocket once more and took out a small velvet box. When he opened it, Emily's breath caught. Inside was her old wedding ring, the one she thought he had pawned when times were tough. "I never sold it," Daniel whispered. "I kept it all these years. I don't know why, but every time I looked at it, it reminded me of who I was when I was with you. That man was real, Emily. The rest of me, I don't even recognize him anymore." She stared at the ring, her heart torn between pain and compassion. He placed it gently on the doorstep and took a step back. "I'm not asking for forgiveness," he said. "I just wanted you to know that I never forgot." The silence between them grew heavy, filled with all the words they never said. Emily looked at the rose still in his hand, its petals trembling in the breeze. She took it quietly, almost without thinking. The simple gesture seemed to bridge the years between them. Daniel turned to leave, accepting that this might be their last goodbye. He had come to make peace, not to rewrite the past. But just as he reached the gate, she called out his name, her voice soft but firm. He stopped and turned, surprised by the tone, gentler than before. "Daniel," she said, her eyes glistening. "Would you like some coffee?" For a moment, he couldn't speak. Then he smiled, a genuine smile, the kind he hadn't felt in years. He walked back slowly, the world around them fading into a quiet stillness. They sat together in the small kitchen, the same way they once did when life was simple and dreams were shared over cheap cups of instant coffee. Neither of them spoke much. The silence that had once separated them now felt peaceful, familiar. Sometimes, forgiveness doesn't arrive through grand gestures or long speeches, it comes in the form of understanding, in the quiet presence of two people who once loved and maybe still do. As the steam rose from their cups, Emily finally looked up and whispered, "You could have written. You could have called." Daniel nodded. "I know. I thought I had time. But time, it slips away faster than we think." She smiled faintly, the years of hurt beginning to soften. "Maybe now, we'll take it slower," she said. He met her gaze, and for the first time in years, the weight on his heart began to lift. The mansion, the cars, the fame, all of it meant nothing compared to this single moment of quiet forgiveness. Outside, the wind rustled the trees, scattering golden leaves across the path he had taken to come back to her. Somewhere deep inside, Daniel realized that love, when true, never really dies, it just waits for the right moment to be remembered. And as Emily poured another cup of coffee, neither of them said anything more. They didn't need to. The silence between them was no longer painful, it was peace.